of the Judiciary and the Presidential Management Staff is now called to order. First of all, I would like to recognize and acknowledge the presence of our esteemed Supreme Court Associate Justice Ramon Paul Hernando, Justice Mario Lopez, Justice Ricardo Rosario, Justice Joseph and Justice Joseph Lopez, Court of Appeals Associate Justice Apolinario Bruselas Jr. and Justice Eduardo Ramos Jr., Court of Tax Appeals Presiding Justice Roman del Rosario and Justice Corazon Ferrer Flores, Sandigan Bayan Presiding Justice Amparo Cabotaje Tang, Associate Justice Michael Frederick Musngi, Justice Carl Miranda, Justice Arthur Malabagyo, Justice Geraldine Faith Ekong, as well as the head of the PMS, Senior Undersecretary Attorney Elaine T. Masukat, ma'am, and the entire Judiciary and PMS delegation. Welcome to the Senate. Before we call on the agencies to present, may I ask the committee secretariat to please read for the record our resource persons today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Your Honors, and to all our guests. Allow me to introduce our resource persons present in today's budget briefing. To our resource persons, if your name is called, please raise your hand so the chairperson can identify where you are seated. Thank you. The following are the resource persons from the Judiciary. From the Supreme Court, Associate Justice Honorable Ramon Paul L. Hernando, Associate Justice Mario V. Lopez, Associate Justice Honorable Ricardo R. Rosario, Associate Justice Honorable Joseph Y. Lopez, Court Administrator Honorable Raul B. Villanueva, Deputy Court Administrator Honorable Leo T. Madraso, and Clerk of Court Attorney Marife Lumibao Cuevas. From the Court of Appeals, Associate Justice Honorable Apolinario D. Bruselas Jr., from the Sandigan Bayan, Presiding Justice Honorable Amparo M. Cabotaje Tang, Associate Justice Honorable Michael Frederick Musni, Associate Justice Honorable Arthur O. Malabagyo. From the Court of Tax Appeal, Presiding Justice Honorable Roman del Rosario and Associate Justice Honorable Corazon G. Ferrer Flores. Also, the following are the resource persons from the Presidential Management Staff: Senior Undersecretary Attorney Elaine T. Masukat, Head; Undersecretary Attorney Rodolfo John Robert Palatao; Assistant Secretary Attorney Juan Emanuel Reyes; Director Attorney Karen Gail Feble; Director Attorney Jared Alexander Gullias. We also have representatives from the Commission on Audit, Supervising Auditor Mariflor Tubana for the Supreme Court, Supervising Auditor Jocelyn Nocom for the Sandigan Bayan and Court of Appeals, and Audit Team Leader Engelbert Potente for the PMS. We also have representatives from the DBM, Acting Director Carlos Castro for the Judiciary, and Acting Supervising Director Mary Queenie Alisa Tamayo for the PMS. That is all, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we begin with the presentation, I guess, of the Judiciary first, I would like to say thank you for your presence here today. In fact, the last time I met with members of the court, aside from Justice Hernando, of course, when we were together at the foundation, was during my court case in the Supreme Court. So every time I have this I guess, battle fatigue of that time. But at right now, as opposed to the senators, we're very public. I know that you do your jobs very quietly, and it's always a good sign if we don't have to face you. But right now, that there's no case or anything, but we appreciate your work, and of course, we would like you to know that the Senate is also very supportive of what needs to be done, and we are here to listen to what can be done to make your work easier also, more efficient, your facilities better. and also for the presidential management staff who manages the schedule of the president. Um, and I know during the last week when the president celebrated his birthday, there's so many simultaneous outreach programs all over the country that in some cases the president had an event, 8 events in one day, and it's mostly an outreach event. So both of you are always have your plates full, and so I hope that I'm sure these proceedings will go smoothly. Thank you, sir. The presentation for the judiciary first, right? The judiciary.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Your Honor. With your permission and on behalf of the Judicial Department or the entire Philippine Judiciary, represented here by the Associate Justices of the Supreme Court, already recognized by Your Honor and the Secretariat, together with the Associate Justices and Presiding Justices of the Appellate Courts and the officials of the Supreme Court. I am Court Administrator Raul Bautista Villanueva, who will be making the presentation for today's briefing, Your Honor. If I may I just proceed already by sharing with you the PowerPoint presentation from the Judicial Department. With your permission, Your Honor, I will be skipping some slides, and I will not go into the detail of each and every slide in the expediency of time. In the interest of time and for expediency purposes, Your Honors. So, next slide, please. First, may I just inform you, Your Honor, in this honorable committee, that the total budget of the judiciary for 2024, pursuant to the General Appropriations Act or Republic Act number 11975, is 60.176 billion. Next slide, please. And the distribution is for the Supreme Court for 2024, 51.9 billion. For the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, 171 million. Court of Appeals, 4.28 billion. Sandigan Bayan, 2.6 billion. And the Court of Tax Appeal, 1.04 billion. Next slide, please. This is the distribution per expense item, Your Honor. Just to mention that for the 2024 judiciary budget, almost 51% is allocated for personnel services. Next slide, please. For 2025, Your Honor, the proposed budget from the judiciary is 84.39 billion, distributed as follows: for the Supreme Court, 73.4 billion. For the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, 185 million. For the Court of Appeals, 6.5 billion. For the Sandigan Bayan, 2.9 billion. And for the Court of Tax Appeals, 1.3 billion. Next slide, please. The total 2025 National Expenditure Program budget of the judiciary, Your Honor, or the NEP budget for 2025 is 63.57 billion. The proposed 2025 net national budget is 6.3 trillion, Your Honor. So the budget for the judiciary is a little over 1% of the national budget for 2025. Next slide, please. The distribution of the NEP budget for 2025 of the judiciary is as follows: for the Supreme Court and the lower courts, 54.78 billion. For the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, 171.7 million. For the Court of Appeals, 5.22 billion. For the Sandigan Bayan, 2.3 billion. And for the Court of Tax Appeals, 1.019 billion. Comparing, Your Honor, the proposed 2025 judiciary budget with the 2025 NEP judiciary budget, there is a total negative variance of 20.8 billion or 25%, Your Honor. Likewise, comparing the 2025 NEP judiciary budget with the 2024 GAA judiciary budget, there is only an increase of 3.3 billion or 5%, Your Honor. May I just inform this committee that insofar as the budget utilization rate of the judiciary is concerned, based on records, we are able to fully utilize the allocated budgets for the judicial departments. Next slide, please. Let me just mention, Your Honor, the salient features of the NEP budget of the judicial department, common to all the courts, Your Honors. is the personnel services requirements for field and unfilled positions as of April 22, 2024, based on the fourth tranche of salary schedule. However, the fund for the implementation of the first tranche of the updated salary schedule for civilian government personnel under Executive Order number 64, series of 2024, dated August 2, 2024, may not have been included in this NEP budget, Your Honor. Likewise, insofar as the 2025 NEP budget of the Supreme Court of the Philippines and lower courts is concerned, there is an allocation for the 2025 bar examinations. By the way, Your Honor, I would just like to mention that the 2024 bar examination was just completed and the chairperson is actually present, Justice Mario Lopez. For next year, Your Honor, 2025, the chairperson of the 2025 bar examinations is Associate Justice Ami Lazaro Javier. Likewise, we thank the inclusion in the NEP budget and one of the salient features for 2025 for the Supreme Court, the judicial reform initiatives of the Supreme Court. We have been given funding in the amount of 6.4 billion pesos, particularly with respect to the programs, activities pertaining to the strategic plan for judicial innovations 2022 to 2027, Your Honor. Likewise, with respect to the budget for the Court of Appeals, there is a budget for the renovation projects already identified for the said courts, and likewise capital outlay of 4.5 million, 415 million, sorry. For the Sandigan Bayan, the construction needed for the Baguio Cottages and Training Center and the Sandigan Bayan Building 2 has been funded already in the amount of 415 million. Finally, for the Court of Tax Appeals, likewise, additional operating requirements have been included as well as construction of road system and perimeter fence amounting to 54 million, including a capital outlay in the amount of 117.9 million. We now present to you, Your Honor, the amounts still for consideration of this honorable committee. Out of the total of 20.8 billion excluded from the proposed 2025 judiciary budget, we asked to be included or for to be reconsidered, Your Honor, the total amount of 12.53 billion pertaining to the following: 10.48 billion for the Supreme Court and the lower courts, 9.5 billion of which are for personal services, which includes lump sum amounts for creation of new positions, particularly for the operation of the Office of Regional Court Managers nationwide. For your information, Your Honor, we are decentralizing the delivery of administrative services to our trial courts nationwide, numbering more than 2,700 with about 24,000 court personnel, Your Honor, through the Office of the Regional Court Managers, and that's why we are asking for funding with respect to the creation of positions for these 15 regional court manager offices and with the various positions, Your Honor, nationwide. Likewise, Your Honor, we're asking for lump sum appropriation for reclassification of positions for lower court personnel. The Supreme Court already approved more than, I think, 3 years ago, Your Honor, the reclassification of the salary grades of all court personnel from the clerks of court down to the utility workers, Your Honor. Unfortunately, we cannot implement the said resolution of the Supreme Court without funding. And that's why we're asking for reconsideration for the provision of 3.7 billion for this purpose, Your Honor. Likewise, we are asking for additional funding for MOE, or maintenance and other operating expenses pertaining to the operations of the offices of the regional court managers, especially for next year, Your Honor. For the Court of Appeals, the total amount of 1.29 billion is being asked for funding, Your Honor, for reconsideration. 968 million of which is for personal services and 326 million for MOE, Your Honor. For the Sandigan Bayan, we are asking an additional amount of 434 million, all for personal services, Your Honor. And finally, for the Court of Tax Appeals, we're asking a total of 329 million additional funding, Your Honor, 317 million of which is for personal services and 12.3 million for MOE. Also, Your Honor, we would just like to bring to your attention, and we appeal for reconsideration as well, some special provisions in the judiciary's budget, particularly the special provision number 7 on the maintenance and other operating expenses of the lower courts. We ask and plead, Your Honor, that the wordings presently appearing in the RA 11975 still be used for purposes of this special provision, Your Honor. And of course, with the exception of the amount that will be appropriated for the MOE, 3,244,188,000. This special provision should also be maintained in the National Expenditure Program, or NEP, for 2025, as worded under special provision number 7, as we mentioned, because this will help promote the financial independence of our lower courts. Likewise, Your Honor, a special provision that we asked to be included because it was excluded in the 2025 NEP, Your Honor, is the special provision on public-private partnership for major infrastructure projects and or procurements of the judiciary. The 2024 GAA includes this special provision, but this was excluded, as I mentioned earlier, Your Honor. We ask that this provision be reinstated or be reconsidered for inclusion in the GAA, Your Honor, because this will enhance the capability of the Supreme Court to implement its major infrastructure projects and or procurements. Admittedly, Your Honor, one of the challenges that we always meet with respect to procurement, not only for the purchase of needed supplies, equipment, Your Honor, but also the construction of halls of justice is our procurement process, Your Honor. And having this PPP provision will help us expedite the process for these procurements. Further, Your Honor, and going to a few more slides, Your Honor, with your kind indulgence, let me just, of course, mention and disclose to you the performance of the judiciary insofar as its major final output is concerned. Our major final output, Your Honor, is with respect to the disposition of cases. And in the Supreme Court, Your Honor, we're happy to note that the disposition rate of our Supreme Court has been increasing on an annual basis, Your Honor. In 2023, we have already, the total number of judicial cases disposed was 4,730, or a 79% accomplishment rate, Your Honor. And from January to June 2024, 2,858 cases have actually been disposed of. For the trial courts, Your Honor, for the second-level courts, which are composed of the regional trial courts and the family courts, including the Sharia District Court. In 2023, a total of 321 and 57 cases were disposed by all our second-level courts. And in 2024, as of June 30, 2024, 147,096 cases. Your Honor, we are disposing more cases on an annual basis as compared to the number of cases that are being filed. That's why for 2023, Your Honor, the pending cases or the caseloads of all the second-level courts for 2023, as of December 2023, is 444,703. From as of June 30, 2024, it has decreased to 426,896. For our first-level courts, these are composed of the Metropolitan Trial Courts, the Municipal Trial Court in cities, the Municipal Trial Courts, the Municipal Circuit Trial Courts, and the Sharia Circuit Courts. In 2023, the total number of cases disposed is 274,625. And in 2024, as of June 30, a total of 134,277 cases were disposed of. Again, Your Honor, for the first-level courts, we are disposing more cases that are, as compared to the number of cases that are being filed. That's why the caseloads for the entire first and second level courts, Your Honor, has decreased already. In 2023, the total number of caseloads for the entire country, Your Honor, is 616,538. And in 2024, as of June 30, 2024, this has been reduced to 590,223. We have breached the 600,000 mark, Your Honor, insofar as the total number of cases in our trial courts is concerned. For the Sandigan Bayan, for the Court of Appeals, the Sandigan Bayan, and the Court of Tax Appeals, likewise, Your Honor, we are happy to report that the appellate courts are disposing more cases than the number of cases that are coming in. That's why in the Court of Appeals, in 2023, 14,037 cases were disposed of, or an accomplishment rate of 97%. As of June 30, 2024, 8,034 cases have been disposed of, and the accomplishment rate is already 110%, Your Honor. So in the Court of Appeals, the pending cases as of December 2023 is 26,239. As of June 30, 2024, it has been reduced. There is an increase, but the disposition continues to increase, Your Honor. At present, it is 26,635. However, in the Sandigan Bayan, the Sandigan Bayan disposed as in 2023 1,986 cases, or an accomplishment rate of 563%. As of June 2024, 840 cases were disposed of, and the accomplishment rate is 477%. As of December 2023, the number of pending cases in the Sandigan Bayan is 1,490. As of January 30, 2024, it's only 1,347. For the Court of Tax Appeals, the number of cases disposed in 2023 is 604, and with an accomplishment rate of 137%. And as of June 2024, 343 cases have been disposed of by the Court of Tax Appeals with an accomplishment rate of 195%. The pending cases as of December 2023 for the Court of Tax Appeals is 1,449. And as of June 2024, it's 1,493. Further, Your Honor, and a few more slides with your kind indulgence, let me just share, of course, the notable ICT projects of the Supreme Court. Since the implementation of the strategic plan for judicial innovations, Your Honor, the core of this particular plan is actually automation, Your Honor. That's why we have so many ICT and automation projects, Your Honors, that are being implemented and have been implemented already as of today, Your Honor. So we have the online payment of legal fees. So through the Judiciary electronic payment solution, we monitor lawyers' journey from the bar exams to compliance with the MCLE, or the mandatory continuing legal education, through the barista or bar applicant registration information system and tech assistance. Likewise, Your Honor, we have secure online facilities for Supreme Court justices and court officials to access and view court records, Your Honor, through our Supreme Court e-filing network. We use the Philippine Judiciary 365 platform for video conferencing hearings, for emails, for the submission of pleadings in electronic copies, Your Honors. Likewise, we have systems to streamline human resources and finance, and processes to improve service efficiency. I'm sorry, okay. Yung slide sumusunod naman po, Your Honor. Likewise, we have an intelligent case management system for trial courts, which we refer to as the e-court system. We have the cost-efficient connectivity between the Judiciary Data Center, Disaster Recovery Site, trial courts, and halls of justice through the SD1 for the Supreme Court of the Philippines. We use AI, Your Honor, for purposes of course, legal research and voice-to-text transcription as well. We have online applications for judicial vacancies through the JBC online registration and application system. We have the unified access point through the Philippine Judiciary portal, and also in coordination with the major justice sector stakeholders, the Department of Justice and the Department of Interior and Local Government, through the Justice Sector Coordinating Council, we are developing the National Justice Information System, Your Honor. Further, Your Honor, some vital SPGI programs that I would just like to share with you is we continue to enhance legal aid initiatives, Your Honor, through what we refer to as the Unified Legal Aid System, or ULAS. We have retooled, Your Honor, the Justice on Wheels program. This is under the objective of the SPGI on access, Your Honor, among others. And of course, with the passage of RA number 12018, which created 3 Sharia district courts and 12 Sharia circuit courts, Your Honors, we continue to strengthen the foundation of the Sharia justice system. For our objective on efficiency, we have a unified comprehensive healthcare plan implemented throughout the entire judiciary, Your Honor. We continue to conduct judicial career enhancement programs and pre-judicature programs for those aspirants to judicial positions. We continue to do caravans for the various revised codes, rules of courts, Your Honors, and even the canons pertaining to lawyers, such as the Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability, for our judges, Your Honors, and justices through the Code of Judicial Conduct, and for our court personnel through the Code of Conduct for court personnel. And with respect to our objective, insofar as the SPGI is concerned on innovation, Your Honor, we are now developing voice-to-text transcription, AI, as I mentioned, for legal research, and we continue to develop e-notarization, Your Honor. We are now coming out with the e-notary rules, and of course, other rules which is within the mandate of the Supreme Court. We likewise continue to be involved with with other stakeholders, as I mentioned, the justice sector stakeholders, as I mentioned earlier, through the Justice Sector Coordinating Council. This was organized to serve as a forum for dialogue involving the 3 major justice sector stakeholders, which resulted in the creation of 10 justice zones nationwide, 3 specialized justice zones on trafficking, with respect to trafficking in persons cases, economic development and tourism, and environment issues through the Green Justice Zone, Your Honor. And one that was recently created or established, Your Honor, was a Tri-City Justice Zone. These zones are intended to increase the cooperation and coordination efforts involving the Judiciary, the DILG, and the DOJ, Your Honor. Going now to the bar examinations, Your Honor, this is now digitalized and regionalized since 2021, Your Honor. And just to report to Your Honor, there is an increasing number actually of bar examinees. And the latest is with respect to the 2020 bar examinations that we have by way of data to share with you, Your Honor. The number of applicants last year, Your Honor, was based on our records, was 11,388. 10,368 completed the exams and 3,812 passed, or a passing rate of 36.77%. The chairperson of the 2023 bar examination happens to be Justice Ramon Paul Hernando, who is also present, Your Honor. In 2024, as I mentioned, this was just completed last Sunday, Your Honor. The number of applicants based on our records was 12,246, but the actual takers was 10,490, if I'm not mistaken, Your Honor. Of course, we're waiting for the results because it's digitalized and regionalized, Your Honor. We expect the results to come out. I cannot soon, in a few months, Your Honor. I cannot speak for the chairperson who is here. Tentatively December, coming from the chairperson.
Ako, kakabahan na ngayon yung mga takers bago magpasko. Bago magpasko ba to or after?
Tentatively,
Siguro,
Your Honor, we are intending to release it on December. But
don't
the
tell
oath taking is already scheduled on January 24, 2025,
I can imagine the suspense, the feeling,
including the bar chair, Your Honor.
including the what? The,
Pati siya kinakabahan.
Ay, pati.
Kinakabahan din.
I'm sure.
Yes
Oh,
po.
ang dami
Thank-
Ang dami nagtitik.
Yes po. If I may proceed, Your Honor, just a few more minutes, Your Honor. So, of course, the judiciary is into a lot of constructions of halls of justice, repair, rehabilitation. So, this is which we welcome, no, the continued funding for all of this, for our needs, no, to provide sufficient infrastructure for our trial courts. And going now to the Philippine Judicial Academy, which is the training arm, the official training arm of the judiciary. The PILJA from in January to December 2023 conducted a total of 95 trainings, programs, and other activities wherein 13,604 participants, no, were involved. From January to June 30, 2024, a total of 40 trainings, programs, and activities were conducted with 6,428 participants. The PILJA's budget for 2024 per the GAA is 532 million. For 2025, the NEP budget is 253.9. The reason for the reduction, Your Honor, is because in 2024, there was an allocation for the procurement of properties and construction of buildings, Your Honor. So that's no longer included for 2025. With respect to the Judicial and Bar Council, Your Honor, which vets all applicants, no, for judicial positions, Your Honor, the number of applications processed in 2023 is 380 positions. For 2024, so far, 122 positions. Recently, 155 appointments were issued by the Office of the President. Pending with Malacanang or with the Office of the President is about 225 positions, no, for judges in regions 9 to 12, Your Honor, and NCR and some other courts nationwide, Your Honor. If all of these appointments will come out, Your Honor, the vacancy rate for our judicial positions will be less than 10%, Your Honor. For the Judicial and Bar Council, the budget for 2024 is 82 million, and in 2025, the NEP budget is 96.7 million. Finally, Your Honor, for the mandatory continuing legal education, the MCLE office recorded from January to December 2023 for 195 MCLE activities. From January to June 2024, about 208. And then we expect more since the compliance period for lawyers with respect to the MCLE will end by next year, Your Honor. In 2024, the budget of the MCLE office is 23.7 million. For 2025, it's 38.1 million. That is it for the judiciary, Your Honor. Maraming salamat, Diyos ang ina, unang agdanayon.
Thank you, Court Administrator Villanueva. Napakabilis, parang machine gun. Tuloy-tuloy yung I'm trying to catch up, but I mean, the numbers that you presented is quite impressive on the number of cases disposed. Ngayon lang ako nakita ng accomplishment rate na mga more than 100%. I assume this is because you have included past cases which, not just for this year, right? Kaya the number of cases that come in this year
Yes, Your Honor.
is actually less than the ones that are disposed kasi carry over, di ba?
What is happening, Your Honor, for example, in our trial courts, on the average, there are about more than 500 cases that are being filed every year, and we are disposing more, including old cases and, of course, new cases that are included in the disposition already.
So maybe I can ask one of you, can you tell me the reason why it's faster now to dispose of a case than it used to be in the past?
Well, I guess for one, Your Honor, if I may, there are rules that have been adopted to expedite the proceedings, Your Honors. For one, even several years ago, we have adopted the judicial affidavit rule, wherein the testimonies, the direct testimonies of witnesses are already reduced through in an affidavit form, Your Honor, so that during trial, what happens is that only a few questions will be asked on direct, and then cross-examination will follow already. But more substantial, Your Honor, are the changes in our rules with respect to, for example, the rules on civil procedure, Your Honor. There are already timelines with respect to the submission of pleadings, Your Honor, and likewise, no, the necessity to include already all evidence in the filing, no, of civil cases, no, among others, and of course the inclusion of the judicial affidavits of the testimonies of witnesses. With respect to criminal cases, the same, Your Honor. Two things may be considered as having contributed to the faster the disposition of criminal cases. First, let me just mention, Your Honor, that based on record, the number of criminal cases, no, the ratio of our criminal cases compared to civil cases is 80-20. 80% with respect to our entire caseload, 80% are criminal cases, no? And only about 20% are civil in nature, Your Honor. And out of that 80% criminal cases, about 70 to 80%, about 50% are drugs cases, Your Honors, or drug-related cases, Your Honors. And the Supreme Court, pursuant to its decision in Estepona versus Judge Lubrigo, allowed the plea bargaining, no? Allowed plea bargaining with respect to drugs cases, Your Honors, and that's the reason why it has helped contributed a lot, no, insofar as disposing drugs cases which can be the subject of plea bargaining, and also the adoption of the continuous trial guidelines, Your Honor, because this provided guidelines for our judges in the conduct of criminal cases insofar as the proceedings are concerned, Your Honor. In fact, with respect to those mediatable cases as well, Your Honors, before mediation was part of pre-trial. Now, pre-trial will have to be terminated first before mediation can be conducted in both civil and criminal cases that can be considered as mediatable, Your Honor.
Well, that's actually quite refreshing to hear also all of these new innovations and rules that are being promulgated. But I would also like to ask, I'm very interested in, you mentioned how AI can actually help in research, etc. What's the other way AI is incorporated? Can you
Well,
expound?
with respect to, aside from legal research, Your Honor, the monitoring of cases using technology, Your Honor, because the Supreme Court would like to make sure that our judges and of course eventually our justices would be able to monitor, no, the progress of their cases, so that aging cases, no, can be given a priority as well, Your Honor, and AI insofar as providing us data, Your Honor, for policy and decision making, Your Honor, with respect to coming out with draft decisions, Your Honor. AI can also be can be utilized also with respect to that, Your Honor.
Of course, we won't rely too much on AI, but it can give an option just to counter-check also the human side of the decision, because we might have forgotten something. I assume that's how it is. How
Yes,
about
Your Honor.
also for creating transcripts? Because right now, people are actually doing that, right? The transcripts. But is this something also that's being utilized?
Yes, Your Honor. In fact, I mentioned earlier that we're developing already voice-to-text transcription. In other words, while the testimony is being given, it's already being recorded and transcribed, Your Honor. And hopefully we can come up with an AI that can translate already, for example, testimonies in one dialect can be converted already into for example, Ilocano to English, Your Honor. That's also something that we're already looking into. In fact, we are doing something with respect to some programs that we're conducting, Your Honor. We're using AI to translate some messages, some speeches that are being given in the vernacular, Your Honor, and translated into English already.
Now, I also read that you do online services already. So, continuing education, this is what's required of lawyers, right? So they can do this online now.
The MCLE office, Your Honor, especially during the pandemic, Your Honor, was already allowing, or at least proposed already, the conduct of MCLE through online facilities, Your Honor. So that is something already that has been taken into account, Your Honor, insofar as
not yet.
continuing education is concerned.
But not yet. What do you call this? But not yet realized.
It is, Your Honor, because some MCLE providers actually conduct MCLE programs through online
Online.
facilities, Your Honor.
And do you dispose of cases online also? I mean, do you conduct hearings of testimonies online?
Yes, Your Honor, because we have the video conferencing guidelines, Your Honor, and in fact, this is also being reviewed. But it is here to stay. We adopted video conferencing during the pandemic, Your Honor, and now the policy of the direction insofar as video conferencing is concerned, Your Honor, is it will continue to be a mode insofar as the conduct of trial is concerned, Your Honor.
Now, can you enlighten me? Actually, wala naman akong masyado ng tanong, but I would like to hear maybe a statement from each of our esteemed justices present here today and the heads of the other courts. But I would like to ask about the special provision to retain 11975. Can you explain that to me?
Yes, Your Honor. In the NEP for 2025, there are special provisions, Your Honor, that are included. And we saw in the special provisions as proposed for the 2025 budget of the Judiciary that special provision number 7 on MOE listed the amounts that will be distributed to each and every court nationwide, for each and every type of court nationwide. Like for example, Your Honor, as proposed, Your Honor, can we just siguro so that I can show it to Your Honor. Well, anyway, Your Honor, in our PowerPoint, the maintenance and other operating expenses of lower courts as special provision, what is proposed or what appears in the special provision number 7 is that it provided the allocation for each type of court. For the regional trial court, it's 1,711,000. And then for the metropolitan trial courts, 1,588,000, and so on and so forth, Your Honor. What we're saying is that we cannot do this at the present time because we have to find the mechanisms in order to distribute and then for them to account all of these funds, Your Honor, that will be directly released. That's why the Supreme Court actually adopted in the meantime the guidelines for the direct release of the MOA budget of some of our trial courts for purposes of enabling them to be able to make use of the MOA funds.
So it's not, in short, not to make it too stringent.
Yes, Your Honor.
Like allow flexibility. Kasi nga naman, if we put an exact amount for certain
Yes, Your
areas,
Honor.
hindi naman ma-utilize, sayang, when other areas need it.
Not only it might not be utilized, Your Honor, it might not be properly accounted for. And that is one thing that we are always conscious about, Your Honor, in the
Okay.
judiciary.
Next question. Minamadali ko para wala nang dumating na ibang sen. Masuspend ko na to.
Yes po.
Special provision on PPP, I just have to
Yes po, Your Honor. Last year, listed as a special provision number 10 in the GAA is special provision number 10 on PPP, Your Honor. However, for this year, Your Honor, there is no special provision on PPP, Your Honor. That's why we're just asking that it be again included or reinstated for 2025.
Okay. These are all noted. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our Majority Leader, Senator Francis Tolentino. Sir, wala namang- okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your presentation. It's very enlightening to know all of these things, and I'm very encouraged also by the data. Perhaps we can hear just maybe a short message from our justices if you would like to say something, anything you'd like to address. And yes, sir, Justice Hernando.
Good morning, Senator Grace, Senator Tolentino. Uh, Court Administrator Raul has basically covered everything, Madam Chair, explaining everything that we are requesting for our budget for the coming year. We wish to thank Congress, of course, the lower house and the Senate for continuously providing support to us in terms of providing for our necessary budget year in and year out. We're trying the best that we can out of the minuscule budget that we get from the GAA every year, but we as you can see, we've been providing much needed public services in terms of legal services and judicial services that we're providing to the public. So we're trying our best to really measure up to the expectations of the public, Madam Chair, and hopefully with an approved budget this year, especially for those provisions that we seek reconsideration, we'll be able to do more for the public. Thank you po.
Thank you, Justice Hernando. Justice Lopez.
Good morning, Madam Grace, and good morning, Senator Tolentino. I just want to mention about this AI, which the good senator has mentioned. We are not totally dependent on AI because, as the good senator had said, there is also some equitous consideration in the decision. In fact, there are some decisions which should not be left to the control of the AI because the court is not only a court of law, but we are also a courts of equity. There is some humanity involved in the disposition of cases. In fact, Justice Hernando, also in the previous bar exam, there were some insinuations that the AI will do the correction of the booklets, but that is totally false. In fact, now I am the bar chair for 2024. Indeed, there were some questions that were referred to the AI, and I reviewed over it. They are not exactly correct. So that means the human mind is still better, the humanity will still prevail than AI. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Justice Lopez, Court of Humanity. That sounds really good. Kasi pagka si Tolang mag-decide parang AI, very precise. Yun na yun. No, but that, Senator Tolentino, there are positives of employing AI, like for example, transcription, research, etc., and also just double checking certain decisions of the court. Just so we didn't forget a particular law or a precedent, etc. But of course, in the end, it's always a consideration also certain factors, humanitarian factors. Thank you, sir. Justice Rosario, sir.
We thank you, Madam, for the kind and warm reception and also the chance for us to our court administrator to justify our request through that presentation that was just concluded. We also do hope and pray that our request for budget be approved. And we do appreciate the fact that the chair appears to be receptive to the proposals made in the said presentation. There were less questions propounded in the course of these proceedings, and we do appreciate that. It makes our bid for approval but less difficult or less complicated. Thank you again. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
The same, yes, Senator Tolentino, who happens to be my fraternity brother. I appreciate your presence, sir.
Ano? Thank you. What did you say, sir? You and your I didn't hear the last part. You and Senator Tolentino.
Batchmates in law school. We went to Ateneo Law School, Senator.
Kayo palang dapat namin tanungin tungkol dito sa...
I've been
And
more reading
for the
to-
history. Thank you, Justice Rosario. Justice Joseph Lopez. Joseph Lopez.
Wala na ho akong dapat pang ipabot sa inyo ang aming pasasalamat. It was also mentioned about the video conferencing. In fact, we have been going around places. Last time we went to Tawi-Tawi, I think this was about 3 months ago. The bank, around 8 justices, went to Tawi-Tawi, and we set up a Starlink. And for the first time, the court in Tawi-Tawi, they had a video conferencing where there is the accused is in one island, and the judge was conducting the hearing in another island of Tawi-Tawi.
Sir, may signal po? May signal?
May Starlink, we set up a
Starlink.
Starlink. In fact, the Chief Justice, trial pa lang daw, pero it was very successful. I was there. I was personally present, and I witnessed the successful conduct of the video conferencing. And the judge was able to conduct the hearing when the accused and his lawyer were in another island of Tawi-Tawi. So I think if we can put up more funds to set up this Starlink, we can have more video conferencing all over the country, and it would facilitate the conduct of hearing. Can you imagine if the accused or the witnesses are not in the Philippines, they are abroad, and there will be no delay in the conduct of hearings because we cannot produce the witnesses in the courtroom, then it will facilitate and no more delays in the conduct of hearings. So we need more fundings, not only because we need money for internet, but because we need facilities for the conduct of video conferencing.
Thank you for bringing that up, sir. That's very interesting. In fact, maybe you should have your YouTube. Sorry, so people can also learn and understand. I mean, this is interesting to show na sa Tawi-Tawi, from one island to another. This is the reality of our country. We're an archipelago. I'm glad to hear that you have regional courts already now. I mean, physical courts for the others to use. But I also want to point out to our esteemed guests, the Public Service Act wasn't really meant, obviously, it wasn't to change the Constitution or to amend it. It was just carving out the definition of public services and public utility. And in fact, when we were able to do that, what is a public service, what is a public utility, we allowed foreign ownership for certain industries that are not considered restrictive, and one of them is telecommunications, as long as it's not in violation of national security. Kaya ang unang nag-register after we passed the PSA ng NTC 0001 is SpaceX. Kaya meron tayong internet na ganon. So I thank also the Supreme Court for the guidance when we were actually drafting the bill on the Public Service Act with the help of Senator Drilon. So now I will leave the floor to our colleagues here. First, Senator Tol, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Senator J.V. Ejercito.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one, I'm fully supportive of the budget of the Judiciary. In fact, I just came from the JBC. Tagal nyo rin akong pinahirapan doon. Maghapon tayo nag-hearing doon. But I can vividly recall that the Senate, the Congress, crafted a new law, and I'm now referring to the Sharia Court Law, Republic Act 120181, just probably an update coming from the good court administrator, Justice Villanueva. We created 3 Sharia judicial districts as well as 12 circuit courts of Sharia. Kasama na sa budget, and what's the latest on this?
The latest on that one, Your Honor, is that we submitted already a memorandum to the court with respect to the positions that need to be filled to create these courts, the 3 Sharia district courts and the 12 Sharia circuit courts, Your Honor. So that is the status right now. The court will take that up during its next session, probably, Your Honor, which will be in October. And then we will then send the resolution of the court to the DBM for funding of this court, Your Honor.
Abot pa ho sa 2025.
Yes, that's of course, so long as the DBM would be able to provide us already with the NOSCA, Your Honor. Yes, aabot po yun. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wala akong tanong kasi yung ginawa natin batas, pinasok na natin yung provisions for PAW, pinasok natin yung prosecutor, di ba ho? Pati yung mga clerk of court, pasok na yun doon.
Yes po, Your Honor. Very comprehensive yung ginawa po
Very
ninyo.
comprehensive indeed. So, I have no further questions. I'm sure with the establishment of the Sharia courts and relating it with the current problems, Madam Chair, lalong-lalo na yung mga fake birth certificates. Kasi yung Sharia courts ang mag-i-issue ngayon ng birth certificate sa mga kapatid nating Muslim. So siguro po mababawasan yung mga ganong uri ng fake birth certificates kasi ang daming fake Filipinos ngayon. So, congratulations po. Sana mapabilis ito. At again, I reiterate my full support to the budget of the Judiciary, Madam Chair.
Salamat.
Thank you to our Majority Leader, Senator Tolentino. Senator JV, is our Deputy Majority Leader is now recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning sa ating judiciary. Anyway, of course, we are here also to support, but the ever-present problem of judiciary is yung backlog, no? I know that problem from way back because I was also mayor, Madam Chair. At that time, yung dating San Juan, nakikishare na sa Pasig at that time. But we were able to establish our own RTC. Tinilagay nga muna yun sa parking building for a time. At least we're hoping that we can we will be able to help solve the backlog or at least makahabol man lang. Just asking yung sa yung Judiciary Development Fund, yung JDF, malaking tulong po ito because Madam Chair, through the JDF, we were able to establish a lot of mga courts, yung mga buildings, infra, na sometimes in joint venture. Doon po in our own experience, we were able to establish a Hall of Justice in San Juan kasi nga po nakikishare noon. But now we are able to establish an RTC, 4 na RTC and two lower courts, no? Yun po ay because of our intervention sa Senate and the JDF. That's why I'm hoping that is this enough po yung inyong JDF so that we can help construct more courts para po makatulong sa kasi nakakalungkot talaga dati, no? But I'm hope that now that there's significant improvement in other areas, siguro our court administrator can brief us, the committee, on whether the JDF is enough already, because I know for a fact that in our own experience nagtulong yung intervention natin sa Senate and also the JDF, we were able to establish a Hall of Justice in San Juan. So siguro you can do the same in other areas to help at least find a solution and solve the backlog. Sige, si Justice Raul.
Yes po. Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, we confirm that the JDF, the Judiciary Development Fund, helps a lot, insofar as addressing, of course, our needs for infrastructure, and to repair, and renovate our courthouses. But the source of the JDF, Your Honor, is actually our legal fees, and definitely, as noted already, it is not enough, Your Honor, to fund all of this. That's why we appreciate the continued support of Congress to provide funding for our infrastructure needs. For the coming year, Your Honor, there is about 1.2 billion, and we thank you for that, Your Honor. We will continue to go to Congress for our needs regarding halls of justice, Your Honor. Thank you.
Well, we take note of that, no? At least we know that it's not enough. That's why through our intervention, we're able to add. Naging maganda ho kasi yung naging sample puro San Juan because the JDF can only allot so much, no? So dinagdagan po natin, and now we kitang-kita na po yung Hall of Justice, no? Although for the record po, dinelay lang po yun ng because of political reasons, alam niyo naman po yun. But it was through our intervention through Congress, no? That's hoping we will be able to replicate the same in areas that are needed, lalo na rin sa mga Madam Chair, sa mga may backlog, no? Sa mga backlog areas. Probably if we can submit to this committee kung anong area so that we can augment those yung mga Hall of Justice, mga RTCs that is needed. We understand that the JDF would not be enough for everything. So at least yung nangyari noon na we were able to supplement and augment, nakagawa tayo ng magandang Hall of Justice.
Yes po. Your Honor, if may I ask Justice Hernando to be recognized, Your Honor.
Justice Hernandez recognized.
Opo. Thank you po, Madam Chair. Good morning po, Senator JV. Yun pong San Juan Hall of Justice is one of our model HOJs po, napakaganda niya. And actually po, pag meron kami mga presentation sa iba't ibang lugar ng bansa natin, pag nagtatayo po kami ng mga HOJ, we point at the San Juan City HOJ as our model. I happen to be Oversight Committee Chair of the Hall of Justice kasi po, Madam Chair. At napakalaking problema po namin sa mga HOJ nationwide. Meron po kami mga instances na napakalungkot. I can cite one, yung isang MTC namin na eject ng sarili niyang MTC kasi hindi namin nababayaran yung lease contract. So nag-file ng ejectment yung lessor granted by the MTC of another branch. So things like that are happening nationwide, and we're trying to really do our best with the budget that we're getting from Congress to remedy all these things. Yung pong isang bagay na gusto ko pong i-emphasize, Madam Chair, yung pag-create namin ng regional court managers. Kasi for the very long time, yun pong ating mga huwes ay sila ang nagmamanage administratively ng kanilang mga korte. Sila yung nag-a-approve ng mga leave of absence ng kanilang personnel. Sila yung nagfa-follow up ng mga supplies, ng mga aircon and everything. So apart from their very basic duty of adjudication, yung talagang dapat pagtuunan nila ng pansin, kinakain yung oras nila ng pagmamanage ng korte nila. But now we're very hopeful that when we get to fully implement yung aming regionalization of our Court Administration's Office, yung tinatawag naming RCM, Regional Court Manager, matatanggal na sa ating mga huwes yung administrative workload. And with that, they will be able to really focus on judicial duties and obligations. So we're very hopeful that when that gets to be fully implemented, we're really going to see another uptick in our disposition rates po, Madam Chair. Senator JV.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Justice Hernando, for the nice words, and hoping that yung nangyari San Juan model, Hall of Justice, which was a good, let's say, a joint venture of the Judiciary and the Congress, no? Congress also, and LGU nagtulong-tulong po dito to put up that Hall of Justice, no? That houses for RTCs and two lower courts. So hopefully dun sa mga areas, Justice, hopefully we can replicate the same. Para nga po na wag nang maulit yung mga yung naikwento nyo, hindi na maulit, no? So through hopefully with the chair's intervention, hopefully we can also replicate the same in other areas para naman umayos and makatulong, no, and help solve our backlog in syempre iba rin mas naging efficient tayo if we have a very good workplace, no? Kasi dati, Madam Chair, yung nun temporary, siguro alam po nila, nasa parking building, temporary housed for several years while we were building the Hall of Justice. But if it's a bigger more conducive. At least we can hopefully solve the backlog problem. So thank you, Justice Fernando, and to the justices, and be rest assured that we will try to support and augment in case so that we can have a better court operation of the courts in the country. Thank you po.
Actually, I'd like to thank Justice Hernando for bringing up this regional court managers kasi nga the administrators more on the cases, right? The court administrator. But then if you call it housekeeping and all the other concerns, masyadong mahirap to separate that two, 'di ba? The actual court work and then also the management of the actual court facilities. So yes, we're supportive of this. Hopefully, our colleagues will also support this. Um,
Yes, Madam Chair.
Administrator Villanueva, yeah.
Po, wala na po akong gusto sabihin, just for put on record nabanggit na po ni Justice Hernando. That's the reason why model nga yung ng San Juan, it's being replicated already for the record. Nangyari na po yan sa Antipolo. Then ongoing right now is in Caloocan and Tarlac City. Just for your information. Thank you po.
That's good to hear, Madam Chair. Thank you, Attorney Raul Villanueva. Actually, matagal na dapat po yun eh. Na-delay lang. Kaya nga dalawa yung plaki ron eh. Para yung dating administration, pero yung bagong administration meron din. So at least it's bottom line is that it's now put to good use and that it's being done in other areas that are critical. No? Thank you for that. And Madam Chair, thank you.
So bakit na-delay?
Para dalawang
With no other questions for the judiciary and the other courts, we now suspend this hearing and actually, your budget is deemed submitted. Thank you very much. Thank you. budget of the PMS is now called to order. May we ask for Yusek Elaine to please do your presentation, or whoever will represent
Good
you.
morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Senator GV. On behalf of the Presidential Management Staff, we have the honor of presenting our budget proposal. For fiscal year 2025, it is in the amount of 872.659 million. It's 4.59% higher than our fiscal year 2024 National Expenditure Program and General Appropriations Act budget of 834.382 million. It represents 0.0137% of the total national expenditure program of the Philippine government. With your indulgence, Madam Chair, I'd like to call on Director Feble to make the presentation. Thank you po, Madam Chair.
Good morning po. Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Senator JV. Our presentation will cover the physical and financial performance of the PMS since fiscal year 2023, as well as the details of our budget or our OPPMS National Expenditure Program. So for our fiscal performance for 2023 po, fiscal year 2023, through the years, the PMS has continued to produce quality outputs in support of the presidency. And the PMS first major final outputs, which are vital to provide decision inputs for the presidency, we submitted a total of 3,381 briefers, reports, speeches, talk points, memoranda, and other papers. For our second MFO, where we monitored and facilitated presidential priority programs and directives, we processed 26,025 requests. We referred 26,025 requests to appropriate agencies, and we updated 2,660 presidential priority programs. And for our third MFO, we processed 1,877 nominations for presidential appointments and provided support for 565 presidential meetings and engagements. For our financial performance for 2023, we received a total allotment of 1.654 billion, and we incurred obligations for a total amount of 846 million, and of that amount, we disbursed 796 million. So at the end of the year, we achieved a 51% obligations and 94% disbursements budget utilization rates. For the first semester of 2024, shown on the screen are our accomplishments. Among these are 1,385 briefers, reports, talk points, speeches, memoranda, and other papers. It also include 6,322 requests referred to appropriate agencies and 1,475 presidential directives monitored, and 1,000 nominations for appointment processed, and 302 presidential engagements and high-level meetings. For our financial performance for first semester of 2024, we received a total allotment of 1.479 billion, and of this amount, we obligated 386 million and disbursed 305 million. So at the end of the first semester, we achieved a 26% and 79% obligations and disbursements budget utilization rates respectively. Going into our proposed budget for 2025 with a total amount of 872 million and 659,000. Per our appropriation source, the PMS NEP is broken down as follows: 850 for agency-specific budget and 22 million for retirement and life insurance premium. Per allotment class, the total fiscal year PMS NEP, excluding the retirement and life insurance premium, is broken down as follows: 263 million for personal services, 537 million for maintenance and other operating expenses, and 49 million for capital outlay. Shown on the screen is the budget of the PMS from fiscal year 2023 to 2025. The increase in the budget for fiscal year 2023, as reflected in the PowerPoint, can be attributed to the additional roles and responsibilities assigned to the PMS. These expanded duties necessitates a corresponding increase in our resources to effectively fulfill our additional duties. That ends our presentation po, Madam Chair.
Thank you for your presentation, Director. How do I pronounce your last name?
Feble, ma'am.
Feble.
Feble, Madam Chair.
Napakaikli pero actually it does not maikli ang presentation pero grabe yung trabaho ng PMS. Like thousands of letters received. Of course, you have to correspond to all of them, refer it to the proper agencies, and even keeping track of the president's schedule and speeches. 'Di ba? Iba-iba yung pinupuntahan ng presidente tapos lahat yan dapat tailor fit. So we appreciate your work. Of course, if the president succeeds, all of us does as well. So thank you to the PMS.
Madam Chair, I'm a witness on how the PMS, how significant the PMS role is, no, and in the success of an administration, no, and in fact, no, during the time of my father, I saw how mga professionals talaga yan eh. They are the backstop. They are sila po ang staff work ng presidente. Even Secretary of Justice Boying Rimulya started with the PMS, and it's as one of the ASECs, no, during the time of president. And until now, he says that's one of his best jobs in the world, serving the president. And Madam Chair, also, sabi ko nga, I'm glad that the PMS is headed by Yusek Elaine Basukat, who I've known since the Congress days. She was a former Chief of Staff of Congressman Toby Tiangco. She was trained well because Toby, I would say, is one of the more, who's more professional, talagang maayos, and whose integrity is beyond question. Kaya I would say that Yusek Elaine was trained well by Congressman Toby Tiangco, no? Na I regard talagang best friend natin yun sa politics. Sabay kami nag-mayor, nag-congress, and I would say that he's one of the public officials that are really honest, no? At maayos talaga. And yung pong PMS, not only the schedules, not only the speeches, that briefing, also sometimes reviews yung mga contracts noon. Kaya siguro, on a hindsight, ano lang, no, dati there was no disadvantageous contracts that were signed by the president before because of the staff work of the PMS, no. So keep up the good work, and I support fully the budget of the presidential management staff, Madam Chair.
Yusek Elaine?
Senator JV, thank you for your kind words, both to me and to Congressman Toby. Thank you, Madam Chair, for your support po. We really appreciate the time and the opportunity to explain our budget proposal.
Tsaka Madam Chair, si Yusek Elaine, ano to eh, less talk, more action to eh. You won't even notice her sometimes kasi quiet lang yan, on the sidelines. But I know how she works. So, presidential management staff is in good hands with her at the helm.
Actually, kaya malapit si Yusek Masukat. I mean, you have a very kind demeanor to everyone. I mean, kasi yung iba, I mean, I'm not saying, di ba, porket na PMS, di ba? Anyway, oo, pero Yusek Masukat, you represent the administration very well together with the PMS team. We appreciate it, what you do. And okay, with that, Lana, with that, the budget of the presidential management staff is deemed submitted. This hearing is now suspended. Thank you very much.